When my girlfriend graduated, one of his juniors publicly posted a status, and the first person he tagged was me. Turned out, the wife he was keeping in his gilded cage was actually my girlfriend still in school. He even bragged about it, how Jazmin used my credit card to buy him a luxury car, an expensive watch, and even paid the down payment for a penthouse downtown. I confronted my girlfriend. Her words were blunt and cold. "Ali, I know you treat me well, but we're just not right for each other. Peter knows all my likes and needs. He keeps me company. We're true soulmates." I said nothing, just handed her a bank card. Jazmin immediately looked guilty. "Ali, don't give me any more money. You've already done enough for me over the years." I stuffed the remaining 9 cards into her hands. "You got it wrong, Jazmin. These are credit cards I applied for under your name when you started college. Everything you spent on Peter over the past few years, you paid for it yourself. Make sure to pay them back on time. Don't let it mess up your credit score." Chapter 1. I had prepared 10 million for my girlfriend. More precisely, 10 million to help her pay off the debt. 4 years ago, when I made my relationship with Jazmin official, I firmly rejected my family's arranged marriage and agreed to their condition. I couldn't spend too much money on her while we were dating. My mother believed Jazmin was a gold digger who would dump me right after graduation. But I loved Jazmin deeply and refused to believe that. As a compromise, I found a loophole in the agreement. I applied for credit cards under her name, and after graduation, I'd quietly pay for the 4 years of her youth. As her graduation approached, I had already prepared gifts and was dreaming about our future together. But then, several video messages from an unknown sender suddenly popped up on my phone. The footage showed the girlfriend I had cherished in the bedroom, the kitchen, and the living room, tangled with another man. "Babe, tell me, who's better, me, or that campus boyfriend of yours?" My face instantly turned pale. It felt like a stone had dropped on my chest and shattered my heart. I couldn't even breathe. I was planning a surprise gift for Jazmin, and she was out messing around behind my back. My fingers stiffly typed out a message to ask where the video came from, but then my phone rang. It was her. "Baby, I got drunk at the bar. Can you come pick me up? It's that place we went on our first date. Please? Love you." That sweet, tipsy voice made my blood run cold. It crushed the last bit of hope I had left. Jazmin had never called me baby, and we'd never been to any bar together. "I've taken you to a bar before." There was silence on the other end. Just a few seconds, but it was enough to sober her up. She gave me a bar name. My hands were trembling uncontrollably as I drove over. When I arrived, I saw Jazmin squatting outside the bar. Her friends were all there. I wanted to spare her the embarrassment. "Get in. We'll talk in the car." But they weren't planning on giving me any dignity. Several girls stood in front of me. After I explained who I was, they sneered. "You guys really have no shame. Trying to hit on drunk girls with lame pickup lines. Jazmin's been dating her boyfriend for over a year. Did you think we wouldn't know who he is?" My face went even paler. So I'd been playing the fool for over a year, and didn't even know it. Jazmin mumbled and said I was her cousin. Only then did the girls hand her over. Back at home, I helped Jazmin onto the couch, barely holding my emotions together as I forced out a question through gritted teeth. "In front of your friends, you wouldn't even admit I'm your boyfriend." Jazmin didn't answer. Instead, like always, she ordered me around. "Make me some hangover tea. I'm dizzy." "Jazmin, I asked you something. Didn't you hear me?" She finally turned her head to look at me, her eyes full of disgust. "Oh, so what?" Chapter 2. What did you just say? I said. "So what? I just don't like people knowing about our relationship." "Is it a crime to call you my cousin, Oliver? What is it you're always suspicious about? You think I'm cheating on you? I'm drunk and have a terrible headache, and you're not even worried about me, just questioning me." "Fine, you want to know. That video was from a game of truth or dare. Just a silly punishment. A game." If I had seen it half a day earlier, before watching those videos, I might have blindly believed her. But now, "So, the boyfriend of a year and a half, your friend mentioned, he's part of that game too?" Panic flashed in Jazmin's eyes, but her tone remained aggressive. "I did all this for you. If I didn't say I had a boyfriend at school, how was I supposed to reject all the guys asking for my number?" She was clearly drunk. Her excuses were contradictory and senseless. Furious, she stormed into the bedroom and slammed the door behind her, shouting the threat she always used to control me. "If you keep talking nonsense, I swear I'll break up with you." She left so quickly, she forgot her phone. Right then, a message popped up. "Senior, I came all the way to pick you up and you still left with that simp. I'm really mad now. I'm punishing you. Buy me a new pair of sneakers. Use that simp's money." The contact name, Peter Special Care. I remembered that name. He was one of Jazmin's juniors from her department. She'd met him 2 years ago and talked about him constantly. She always said he was dumb and careless, always making mistakes, and as his senior she felt responsible for guiding him. I used to think my girlfriend was just kind-hearted. Now I understand. That smile she couldn't hide when mentioning Peter was the giveaway. I loved her too much, trusted her too much. That's how I missed all the signs. I opened their chat. Every message between them was answered instantly, in stark contrast to our chats, where I was on Do Not Disturb, and she'd only reply with a few words hours later. They talked about everything, from academic philosophy to day-to-day caring words. Jazmin played the nurturing big sister role, but used my money to buy Peter a luxury car, expensive watches, even a home in the city center. I sat on the couch all night reading, watching 4 years of love be completely shattered. Turns out, when I was sick and needed care, she claimed she had a meeting, just to throw Peter a birthday party. That jade pendant I gave her, she lost it, right into Peter's hands. The 1,000 roses I handmade for her anniversary, she took them to a hotel for their romantic night. She even made a solemn promise to her junior. We've got the car and house we need. Once I graduate, I'll break up with Oliver and make our relationship official. Chapter 3. I didn't know when I fell asleep on the couch. When I woke up, I smelled something fragrant. Jazmin walked over, holding a bowl of porridge. I stared at her in a daze. This gentle, caring woman looked just like the one I'd first fallen in love with. Last night's disgust and rage felt like a bad dream, until she nervously opened her mouth. Did I say anything weird last night? Anne, you didn't look at my phone, right? My heart instantly went cold. I numbly shook my head. No. Jazmin let out a long sigh of relief, forcing a sheepish smile. My dorm mates dragged me out. They said we had to go wild one last time before graduation. Don't worry, it was just us girls, no guys. Sure, the bar didn't have any guys. She just kept one hidden behind the scenes. I ate in silence, thoughts racing through my mind. I finally decided I needed to speak up. We'd been together 4 years. I knew she couldn't afford those expenses. If she could at least admit it, apologize sincerely, and return what could be saved, I was willing to give our relationship a more dignified ending. But before I could say anything, her phone rang. When she saw the caller ID, she avoided eye contact and picked up. I clearly heard Peter's voice on the other end. She, however, stayed completely composed. My senior is helping me plan the graduation party. I have to go. She quickly changed clothes and rushed out the door. I put down my bowl and followed her downstairs, until I saw her and Peter kissing at the entrance of a hotel before walking inside together. All the strength in my body vanished. I collapsed to the ground. 5 minutes later, another video came through on my phone, sent by the same unknown number. It showed them entangled again, accompanied by a mocking message. Wow, senior, you saw all these videos and you still haven't dumped her. What's wrong? Are you into this kind of thing? So it was Peter sending them, mocking me, the loser in this story. Right after, Jazmin called me. She was holding something back over the receiver, speaking in a strange voice. Baby, can you come to my graduation party tomorrow? I want to tell you something. I smashed the phone to the ground, the last bit of hope in my heart completely crushed, leaving only rage. So, she planned to dump me at her graduation party. To flaunt her success. Fine. If you two don't want dignity, then I won't give you any more chances either. Chapter 4. The next morning, after I got up, Jazmin finally came home, staggering, her eyes dodging mine. Why did you suddenly hang up the phone yesterday? Go back for the afternoon party. I looked at her trembling legs and sneered internally. So the cheating couple really did indulge themselves the whole night before graduation. Do they really think life is just about living in the moment? I'll go. Hearing that, Jazmin looked pleased and took out her phone, seemingly to text someone. Then she explained to me. I just went out to have fun with my girlfriends last night. I nodded perfunctorily and returned to the study to contact the bank. I could still hear Jazmin in the bedroom, sweet-talking Peter over the phone in a nauseatingly saccharine tone. Peter kept reminding her over the phone that before breaking up with me, she must get enough money for the two of them to live on. Jazmin responded confidently. Relax. Oliver's been simping for me for years. Even if he finds out about us, as long as I act a little cutesy, he'll give me whatever I want. I sneered inwardly. Of course, go ahead. Take as much as you want. Time passed quickly, and in the afternoon, I drove the dolled-up Jazmin to the party venue. On the way there, Jazmin suddenly remembered the money, so she started acting cute. I didn't hesitate to toss her a bank card. When we arrived, I got out of the car with her on my arm. Many people turned to look, puzzled why Jazmin seemed so close to me. After all, in everyone's mind, Jazmin and Peter were the actual couple. Peter immediately grabbed the mic and shouted. Obviously, because this gentleman here is my wife's simp. He spends big just to make her happy, buying me cars, houses, even watches. He looked smug, brazenly mocking me as the loser in this love triangle. But I really don't like being the third wheel in this relationship. Then, right in front of everyone's shocked faces, Jazmin dumped me. Ollie, I know you treat me well, but we're just not right for each other. Peter understands all my hobbies and needs. He gives me companionship. We're true soulmates. I nodded silently and handed her another bank card. She was stunned. And for the first time, a trace of guilt flickered in her eyes. "Ali, you don't need to give me any more money. You've helped Peter and me enough over the years." I smiled and stuffed the remaining 9 cards into her hands. "You've got it wrong, Jazmin. These are the credit cards I opened in your name when you started college. All the luxury cars and villas you bought Peter over the years, you paid for them yourself. No need to thank me. Just remember to pay the debt back." Chapter 5. I didn't speak loudly, but my words carried clearly through the entire venue. For a moment, everyone except me had their mouths wide open in disbelief. What did he just say? Credit cards. He said the money his girlfriend spent over the past few years came from credit cards. They stood in a daze for a while, as if trying to make sense of what I had said, then suddenly burst into loud laughter. "Is that for real? Credit cards? Who the hell gives their girlfriend, opens credit cards in her name for her to use? What kind of game is this guy playing? But hey, if he really used credit cards, then that means all the spending Jazmin did on her boyfriend recently was actually with her own money. Ha 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 ha." Apart from the crowd of people Peter had arranged to come mock me, there were also other students present. They had long been fed up with Peter flaunting around under the shine of his girlfriend. Now, after hearing my words, the room exploded with laughter. Unlike the laughter surrounding them, the main characters of this story, Jazmin and Peter, looked like their faces had been drained of blood. "Oliver, what did you just say? These cards are..." Peter cursed loudly. "Oliver, are you even human? Who the hell gives their girlfriend credit cards like that? There are people like you who spend your boyfriend's money on your side piece. So why can't I be the guy who opens credit cards under his girlfriend's name?" I pulled out the stack of invoices I had organized all afternoon from my shoulder bag. In the past 2 years, the projected spending adds up to $8.76 million, and credit cards come with interest. All in all, it's roughly over $9 million. These cards, by the way, were only approved by the bank because of my connections. Otherwise, with the processing fees, you wouldn't even be able to afford the payments. Actually, you probably can't afford them even now. As I spoke, the smirk on my lips grew wider and wider. Peter's face turned pale as he looked at Jazmin. Jazmin, this. I saw right through Peter's scheming, so I thoughtfully explained for him. "Oh right, Mr. Peter, don't be in a hurry to sneak off. I'm sure when you and Miss Jazmin started your affair, none of the gifts she gave you were marked as willing donations. So you're also responsible for the money on those credit cards." "What did you say?" Jazmin's eyes were red. Speechless from emotion, she stepped forward and suddenly swung her hand at my face. "Oliver, you scumbag." I tilted my head to dodge without hesitation, then slapped her right back. "Jazmin, do you really think you're in any position to call me a scumbag? Everyone here can see clearly who the real trash is, spending my money to support your side guy. You even called me yesterday morning right before you were about to hook up with him. What? Is that some kink of yours? Does it make things more exciting for you?" Jazmin's red-rimmed eyes filled with disbelief. "You hit me, Oliver. You actually hit me. You weren't like this before. You've changed, Oliver." Her words utterly disgusted me. I had to fight the urge to slap her again and gave a cold laugh. "I've changed. Yeah, I've changed. I'm no longer the gullible fool who let you lie and cheat me out of love. Let me make it clear, Jazmin. I had actually prepared $10 million for you. I wanted to use it to buy those 4 years of your youth. I'll admit, before I found out about Peter, I truly loved you. I prepared a car for you, a house, even a great job. And if you didn't like working, that was fine. We could have traveled around in a camper van, chasing the poetry and distance you always talked about. Looking at it now, you are chasing your poetry and distance, just not with me." Jazmin blinked, visibly shaken. Peter, on the other hand, was wide-eyed the moment he heard $10 million. He frantically patted Jazmin's back. "Jazmin, did you hear that? $10 million. This idiot had $10 million ready for you. Hurry up and go apologize to him. If you apologize properly, maybe he'll pay the debt for us. Go, Jazmin, go." I waved Peter off in disgust. "Forget it, Mr. Peter. I much preferred the version of you from yesterday morning when you sent me that text. Anyway, I wish the two of you a long, loving relationship, and lots of children." Then I turned around and walked away with dignity. Chapter 6. After leaving the school, I called home. "Mom, Dad, about that arranged marriage you mentioned before, I've thought it through. I'm willing to come back and marry her." There was a voice of surprise on the other end of the line. "You little punk finally made up your mind. I remember you said just today that you were going to spend the rest of your life with that wonderful girlfriend of yours." I gave a bitter laugh in response to my father's sarcasm. "You were right. I was wrong. It was my mistake to believe in a love that turned out to be nothing but an illusion." Later, I went to a bar and called some of my old friends to drink and party. Back when I was with Jazmin, I spent every day thinking about her. I never had the time or space to live for myself. Now that we've broken up, I'm finally free to do what I want. My friends were shocked to see me chugging drinks like that. After all, I used to be the kind of guy who always rushed home to take care of his girlfriend. When they asked in surprise, I didn't hold back. I flat out said I'd been cheated on for 2 years. Thinking back, after she met Peter 2 years ago, she rarely initiated any intimacy between us. She always said it wasn't the right time and that we should wait until we got married after graduation. I agreed. Even felt proud, thought she was a traditional girl with strong boundaries. But after reading through her chat logs, I finally understood. Her tradition only applied to me. She had done far worse than just making a phone call while being with someone else. One of my friends patted me on the shoulder, trying to comfort me, but I just curled my lips. I had already moved on. What was there to comfort? But when I got home from the bar, Jazmin was standing in my apartment. She smiled when she saw me, reaching out as if to hug me. I stared at her in disbelief. What now? Did she lose her memory after graduation? We had just ended things, and now she thought we could just get back together. I slapped her hand away. Are you okay, Jazmin? Didn't we already break up at the party? If you came back to pack your things and go to your lover, fine. But what's with the touching? Jazmin's face flushed, her eyes immediately welling with tears. Don't be angry, Oliver. I know I was wrong. I saw how exhausted you looked these past few days, so I came back to make some chicken soup for you. Here, try some. She turned around and handed me a bowl filled with rich, fragrant chicken soup. I know I was wrong. I shouldn't have done those things behind your back. After you left, I thought about everything a lot. Is there really anyone in this world who loves me more than you do? I misjudged everything. Misjudged what? I asked curiously, not taking the soup. Jazmin suddenly looked hurt. He ran. The moment he heard he had to pay $9 million, he disappeared. I always thought he was a man of responsibility, but now I realize he was with me just for money and my body. He never loved me. As she spoke, giant teardrops streamed down her face. I'm so heartbroken, Oliver. Jazmin rarely cried. In my memory, the first time she cried was when I got injured by accident and was misdiagnosed as terminal. She cried her heart out. The second time was on her birthday. When I surprised her with a giant cake, she teared up and said she'd only seen things like that on TV. Never thought someone would love her enough to actually do it for her. In the past, whenever I saw her cry, I would have done anything to cheer her up. But now, my tone was cold. Heartbroken. Why? Wasn't this your own choice? Forgot what you said just a few hours ago. Do I need to remind you? Oliver, might have been good to you, but that goodness wasn't real. I didn't understand your interests, your hobbies. Everything I did was just surface level, only seemed like love. Peter, on the other hand, is your true soulmate. He understands everything about you, what you like, what you hate. He was there to hold you when you were sad and lonely. He gave you warmth. Wasn't he your one true love? Then why do you still need a temporary stand-in? My cold words seemed to pierce right through her. I know I was wrong, but Oliver, aren't you being a bit too cruel? You promised me once that you'd stay by my side forever, that you'd forgive all my flaws, that we'd be together. How could you break your vow? Chapter 7. What a load of bullshit. Forgiveness. Being cheated on is something that can be forgiven. Vows. Jazmin, did you even manage to keep a straight face when you said that? Do you remember what you said on our first anniversary? What? Jazmin froze. Her expression showed she really couldn't remember, so I helped her recall it. Our first anniversary happened to fall during the winter. I had a falling out with my family, a season buried in heavy snow. I had rejected an arranged marriage for the sake of the woman standing in front of me. My family wouldn't allow me to date her, so I ran away from home and blocked all their contact info in anger. In return, they froze all my bank cards, but I had my eye on a couple's bracelet set at a shop just before our anniversary. I took on 4 part-time jobs a day and managed to buy the women's piece to gift to Jazmin. Coincidentally, she had prepared the exact same surprise. That college girl, not even graduated yet, had taken on a flood of design commissions in the dorm, her hands covered in wounds and band-aids from overwork. When we exchanged gifts, we both cried. We held each other tightly and made vows that we'd love each other forever, that our hearts would belong only to each other. It was a love that really moved people. And now, what's the result? Do I need to remind you again and again? Jazmin fell silent, lowering her head. The chicken soup in her hands was so hot it made her fingers tremble, yet she didn't move. I let out a deep sigh and gently took the bowl from her hands, placing it on the table. You should go. There's no us anymore. I wish you happiness. Jazmin's body began to shake. Her lips parted like she wanted to speak, but nothing came out. In the end, she just lowered her head and murmured, I'm sorry. Then she walked out the front door. I stared at the steaming pot of chicken soup and shook my head, then dumped all of it into the trash. After knowing Jazmin for so many years, I'd like to think I can still tell whether she's genuinely remorseful or not. The chicken soup thing, probably Peter's idea. He likely even had her drug it, thinking she could force me to pay up with some underhanded trick. But after everything I said, all those memories I brought up, The look in Jazmin's eyes, it was real regret, real remorse. But deep affection that comes too late is worth less than grass. If she knew it would come to this, then why did she make those choices in the first place? Chapter 8. In the home I had waited 4 years to build. I packed up a few essentials and booked a plane ticket to leave. I had already contacted my lawyer to put the house I bought earlier up for sale. Some things, once you let go, must be let go completely. By that evening, I arrived home and met my arranged marriage partner. It wasn't until we met that I realized the person was Luciana, my childhood friend and the older sister from next door, 2 years my senior, the same woman I had ghosted the last time. We got along naturally, and quickly the conversation turned to engagement. I was a bit curious why she wasn't angry about the last time I turned her down. She immediately crossed her arms. How could I not be angry? I've been waiting for you for 9 whole years. What do you mean? I mean, that engagement 4 years ago, I begged my parents for it. Remember? 9 years ago. I was a little dazed. After she left, I started digging through some of my old things. 9 years ago would have been when I was in my first year of high school. I found a love letter in my drawer. That's when I finally remembered. I had once confessed to her back in high school, told her I liked her and wanted to date. But since we were both still studying at the time, she gently turned me down and said, "Let's wait until we both graduate from college." Okay. I suddenly felt a wave of guilt. A blurry high school crush had been treasured all this time by this neighbor sister, while I, like some heartless jerk, had completely forgotten about that promise after just a few years. The next day, when Luciana came over again, I sincerely apologized to her. She didn't care at all. She just patted my shoulder. "As long as you remember, that's enough. Big sis has always been waiting for you." From then on, Luciana and I spent more and more time together, building our bond. Strangely enough, even though it had been so long since those innocent high school days, I still found myself fluttering at her every smile and movement. It felt like a seed of love, buried long ago, had finally sprouted again. Slowly, we began to hold hands. What I didn't expect was that 2 months later, Jazmin suddenly called me, asking to meet. I had my phone in hand, ready to reject her, but Luciana suddenly took the phone and answered. "He'll come." I looked at her in confusion. Luciana gave a soft, calm smile. "She was your first love. You were together for 6 years. You need to give that story a proper ending. Public humiliation at a graduation party isn't exactly graceful closure." Luciana's empathy moved me. I nodded gently. "Okay." Soon, we arrived at the gate and saw Jazmin. She was wearing a wedding dress, looking completely different from the way I remembered her. Her eyes were swollen from crying, her face full of weariness. She became emotional when she saw me. "Ali, don't call me that. We've already broken up," I replied calmly. Jazmin stared at me, then looked at the woman beside me. "Oliver, is this your side chick? Is she the one you betrayed me for? Still haven't learned anything in 3 months." I stood up instantly and scolded her. "Watch your mouth, Jazmin. Luciana is my fiancée, not some mistress. We've already broken up. There's no betrayal here, so stop spreading lies about us." Jazmin's expression darkened. "I'm sorry. If you're just here to apologize, then please leave." Jazmin's body trembled. "You won't even give me one more chance. I was wrong before. Peter's a complete scumbag. I never saw the truth. I never understood your love, or myself. But I'll change. I swear I'll change. Why won't you give me just one more chance? Wasn't 4 years enough?" I shot back at Jazmin. Her face froze instantly. "Wasn't 4 years enough? I loved her for 4 whole years. I was willing to give her everything for 4 years. And what I got in return was constant dismissal, coldness, and being told that I was too soft, too emotional, not man enough. I got betrayal. Fine. So I gave you Peter, and I walked away. Why are you crying now?" I didn't raise my voice, but my words were like silver needles, one after another, piercing into Jazmin's heart. "Jazmin, remember this, it was you who severed what we had." I ignored her visible pain and remorse, and silently took my fiancé's hand and walked away. The next day was my wedding. Everything proceeded smoothly. Under the witness of both our families and the cheers of our friends, I held Luciana's hand and walked into the wedding hall. Before the priest, we exchanged vows to accompany each other for the rest of our lives. As I slid the ring onto my bride's finger, I thought I saw Jazmin's figure by the glass window. Through the glass, I could make out her tear-streaked face. I wondered, was that her 4th time crying, or 5th? But now, what does that have to do with me? No matter how much she regrets it or how much she hurts, she made this choice herself.